Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, we are Lincoln and Amanda, self-made thousandaires and slaves to this lovely little chateau that sits on 40 acres in the Côte d'Or region of France. Today we'll answer your questions, including popular ones like, what's up with the cottage renovation? And what about that new kitchen?
Oh, Enzo, you took my spot. How am I supposed to sit here?
Come on, Enzo. I think you have question number one.
We fund the renovations.
But now that we've grown a little bit on YouTube, anything we make on YouTube goes right back into the property. You know, those mid-roll ads that you see, that's Google paying us. And then we also now get some sponsorships. Right. Advertisers come to us for us to tell you about their product. We just put that right back into, you know, buying equipment, anything having to do with the chateau. Right. I try to make the ads funny so you guys will watch them. So that's the point.
That's a good plan.
Try to watch our ads that we do.
Try to stick it out.
Yeah, see what Lincoln's going to be dressed as today. And that's a good segue into today's sponsor. Well, we have a bit of a problem. I just came out to the orchard and our money trees are almost bare. I just picked the last dollar. That's why I'm super happy that Free Cash is sponsoring today's video. What's Free Cash? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's an online platform where users from all over the world can sign up for free and make money online by playing mobile games from different categories. So basically you get paid to play games? Yes. I admit I was a bit skeptical, but I did a little research and they have a Trustpilot rating of 4.7. A great way to make some extra cash. It's a perfect distraction if you're traveling, sitting in a waiting room, or to drown out your husband while he discusses the best Grateful Dead concert of all time. You can sign up on a web browser like I did or on your phone. Just make sure to enable app tracking on your device so that Free Cash can reward you according to your progress. And depending on your country, your interface might look different than mine. I've already withdrawn my earnings to PayPal. It's super easy and takes just seconds. So why not try Free Cash for yourself? It's really fun, and when you click on our link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen, you'll receive a $5 bonus on your first offer started. Thanks, Free Cash. Are you concerned that Italy will revoke your citizenship due to the new laws? No.
Fortunately, the changes they made, which now they'll only limit it to either a parent or grandparent that you're claiming it from, and the grandparent couldn't have given up their citizenship voluntarily while the child was still a minor. Either of those doesn't apply because it was your grandfather, number one, and your grandfather didn't get his citizenship in the U.S. until after your dad was already 30-something. But
the point is, Italy doesn't just take your citizenship away. I mean, maybe the U.S. is getting there now, but Italy doesnare do that.
No, once you have it, they can't take it away from you.
Yeah, so we're good, we're fine. But the laws have changed, and I think some people are scrambling or left sort of.
Well, yeah,
there's nothing they could do if they have a great grandparent. You're not going to get citizenship.
There are people that are in the process that have paid someone, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars to get it done, and all of a sudden,
it's not happening.
Their situation doesn't meet the criteria.
Because it does take them an incredibly long time to grant citizenship.
Right, the whole process is...
I think that's just Italy in general. I think everything. I mean, I think France is bad, but I think Italy...
You know, Italy is kind of like the turbocharged version.
Yeah, they really are.
Extra slow.
Extra slow. I've had some dealings with Italian government online, and things take a very, very long time. I will say the Italian consulate in Paris was very good. They were quick, but dealing with small little towns where I had to change my voting records, that was just like, it was like going in circles and very frustrating.
I mean, part of the process of getting the citizenship is that whatever town your grandfather was from, all of the subsequent records, including you and your kids, and all have to be filed in that town.
In the little town. So I had to change that I was now living in France, when we first moved here, because I had to update my passport. So that's when everything changed and I had to re-register. So yeah, it's interesting, but no, we're not going to be thrown out. I hear donkeys behind us. Hi, donkeys.
Hello there.
How much money have you spent renovating? This is going to seem like a really stupid answer.
We don't know.
That's not.
And I could figure it out
Yeah.
pretty closely if I really, really, really tried, but I don't
And
really
we kind of don't want to.
The 2 bathrooms we've done.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of paint.
Labor. I mean, we did have a helper
We had some help.
for a while.
I'll figure it out someday. It's already spent.
Yeah, it's gone. It's like open the window.
Can't change.
Just went right out that window.
When we were spending it wisely.
Yes, we don't spend frivolously.
Right.
We're very careful about what we purchase, whether it's equipment or furnishings, that sort of thing. I need that statue for the garden. I'm going to spend 50,000 euro in this ancient statue. Is your stove still sitting in the hallway? I found this La Cornue stove at an incredible bargain. We went to Normandy and picked it up. The plan was to install it in the cottage. It now sits in the central hallway and is occasionally used as a bed for marble.
I should probably hook it up. Just use it.
Yeah, I could cook in the entry. I don't think so. The most popular questions are, what's going on with the cottage, and what about the kitchen renovation?
We paused the cottage because we'd gotten to a point where we had basically fixed the problems, so it wasn't in danger of falling down. We replaced all the beams with beams of the same size, and the lintels as well. We dug the trench around it and put gravel in so there wouldn't be a water problem.
Yeah, and that's helped all of those outbuildings.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's been a huge help.
Made a large difference. That was one of the reasons we thought that was a priority.
It's really a tricky question, and I know it sounds silly to say that, but we originally started the renovation, number one, because it was falling down, like you had mentioned. And we were really concerned that it was just going to collapse into dust. The other reason we started it was because we wanted to start our kitchen renovation in the main house, and it would just be really tricky setting up a second kitchen. So we thought, hey, let's just do it all. Let's
Two for one.
Two for one, do the cottage, have an extra place for family and friends, and then I have a new kitchen so we can take our time with our Chateau kitchen. We stopped at a point, like Lincoln mentioned, it wasn't falling down anymore, but we had also
discovered really that it could possibly be considered historic in some way and covered by some regulations that might change what we wanted to do with it.
We have somebody working with us to trying to figure all that out. And of course, the French system takes a long time and the paperwork. Right. Our original plan was to do some skylights in the back. And now I think this project has taken a different path. We want to put in proper dormers.
It's probably going to be a more expensive project than we originally envisioned. The dormers especially. That's really the right thing to do. Because
absolutely. I mean, I felt we were getting into a position where it was just hurry, 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 let's go, let's get this finished. And we really had to pull back and say, I don't want to slap some things together for YouTube content or just to get it done. Our whole goal with this property is do things the right way.
Right, do it once.
And it might be frustrating for people around us or viewers, but that's just the way it's going to happen. Yeah. The other thing about the cottage is that my mother might want to move to France.
And live here.
So she's coming this summer to stay for a couple months to see if she could really make the move. And that's a big move. if she were to move here, ideally she'd go into that cottage and then maybe decide what she wants to do in there. So it's a really complicated situation. It might not seem it to you, but to us,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money. We just need to take a step back and think about it. So we're fortunate that it's not going to fall down right now.
Right.
That's the first goal. What about your kitchen?
Right.
So since we are pulling back on the cottage renovation, we have made the decision to start planning our kitchen renovation, which is something that's really important to us. We realized, I think our main goal is to get most of the rooms in the chateau finished and then be concerned about the outbuildings. But that could change tomorrow because we change our minds a lot, so we don't know what's going to happen.
Priorities change.
A couple of architects have reached out to us. That's something where we really need a professional. We're not going to wing this.
Because sometimes you can't really envision something until you've actually done it.
Yeah, and to
if you don't like it, then that's a problem.
well, also to have a fresh pair of eyes on the job, because we've just been staring at it and we have our own ideas. So I think that's really helpful. So if we could have architects' plans and then we can do the majority of the work ourselves. There might be the help of maybe a cabinet maker coming in, doing some woodwork for us, because we need some cabinetry matched up. So that's exciting, and that's something that we really need as a family, is a finished kitchen, because we've lived with this kitchen for a while now, and it's just it's
almost 6 years.
So we think it's time. We do not have an endless supply of money. We need to go into this, realizing it's not going to be our dream kitchen, but pretty close. I feel like we could get it pretty close without breaking the bank.
Right. We're trying to sort of, with everything we do, sort of have it in keeping with the building. We'd like it to be where you could look at it and obviously it's got new appliances and things like that, but a lot of the other stuff looks like, it could have been there the whole time,
Yeah, the cabinetry and that sort of thing. Now that I have a La Cornue sitting in the hallway, maybe we should just put it in our kitchen.
That's a possibility.
That's a possibility. We did lose out on
another one, right?
A big La Cornue Chateau. The guys at Chateau Avansac, they have a YouTube channel. I think it's called At the Chateau. They messaged me that there was an auction, and there was this big, beautiful La Cornue, and we bid on it, but we were outbid. And
it was a type of auction where they're auctioning off the whole house and all of its contents, and it's going to be demolished in a couple of weeks. So you got to get there and get your thing out real quick.
Yeah. So we were like, what do we do? This is like a huge stove. We'd literally have to go down there with a team of people and have them take it out, because it's something we couldn't do by ourselves. But so that one slipped through our fingers, but that's okay. I don't think maybe it was meant to be, but. So the kitchen renovation will be our kitchen and that hallway. So it's kind of a big project. We will have to bite the bullet and put a temporary kitchen in our dining room. Like I said, we don't have this isn't a huge chateau.
Yeah.
Right? So what would we do?
Well, that's the closest room, and there's a doorway that had formerly been a doorway between the kitchen and the dining room, which has since been closed up. So if we're able to open that up and kind of reposition things, it's almost like the dishwasher and sink are still kind of in the kitchen, but they're facing the dining room now, if you can picture that.
Yeah.
So that would work.
Yeah. So, it'll just have to be done very carefully, and it'll be really exciting to figure it all out.
We have, the whole mystery of the wall that clearly has a fireplace in it. We're not sure what it is. We think it could possibly be a bread oven. We're not certain. If there's nothing there and it's not worth keeping, that's where you'd probably put the stove. But if it's something you want to keep, then you have to move the room around.
So once the kitchen renovation does start, it's going to be a long haul. So there will probably be a lot of videos.
More than you may want to watch.
I know. Yeah.
You asked for it.
Right. Do you plan to do more cooking content and perhaps make a cookbook that we can purchase? I would love to do more cooking content. I will do more. And probably, yeah, a cookbook down the line. Oh, did you finish your daughter's bedroom yet? Well, we have 2 daughters.
We finished the first one.
We finished the first one. You must have missed that video because
you showed it finished.
It's finished. Yeah, we showed it. I'll put a link below, and you can, if you haven't seen that, you can watch it. How come Lincoln does all the work? I don't know that I want to answer that one.
If you're watching something that's like a time lapse of me working, it doesn't have Amanda behind the camera. That's one of our cameras, and Amanda's off doing something else that you may see in another part of the video that was happening simultaneously.
Yeah, I don't know. We get that question kind of a lot. I guess we don't film everything we do. I don't know that anybody really wants to watch a video of me like stripping paint or cleaning a toilet or vacuuming the chateau. Or there's so much we do. We both do so much. And then there are things that we don't film. We're working on our other daughter's bedroom.
Right.
And she has specifically asked to not show the before or the after. So we have to respect that. We have our hands in multiple projects, and I feel like it's controlled chaos.
Yeah.
We know we have to do this or that or this or that. And it's just a really juggling act. So
yeah.
We're working on the greenhouse. At the same time, I'm trying to get done in the garden. I'm working on our daughter's bedroom. We need to move her to a completely different room, start her room. I have our drum room that I'm doing,
right.
And that's purely for fun. So that's lower priority, but it's still happening. So there's a lot of stuff happening, and sometimes we don't have time to film it, or we don't feel like filming it. Sometimes.
Or we forget to press record.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that quite a few times. And it's hard to know what you guys want to watch. Sometimes I'll put out a video and I think, oh, that's going to be awesome, and then nobody watches it. Do all of the cats get along?
Yes and no.
We have 3 of them segregated. They sort of self-segregated.
Right.
We call them the 3 amigos, and that's Mochi, Fig, and Maple.
They're our first 3 cats.
Maple and Fig are siblings, and they're both very scared cats.
Right.
And Mochi sort of took them in, and now he considers them his.
Right.
They all stay in the primary suite. It's basically the size of like a huge apartment, so
Yeah.
they have 2 floors to go up and down and play, and they're happy. It's really crazy how they all just kind of get along.
They do. Yeah. I think they have enough space, that's why.
That's the key. And someone asked about Mimi.
Mimi's the cat that came with the chateau. She was a mouser that lived in the barn, and she was fed once a day.
I was trying to get her used to us, talking to her, and one day she just showed up and she was like, meow, pet me, and then we were BFFs. My goal ultimately was to get her into the chateau, and that happened, unfortunately, because she was diagnosed with cancer. She had a little spot on her nose, and I took her to the vet, and since then she's been inside, and she's doing well. She's cancer-free. She's just getting old, so she doesn't do a lot. She just kind of sleeps in the sun, and she gets along with some of the other kittens. She enjoys pancake. Yeah. She's slowed down, so thankfully she's inside and not outside and has to deal with those terrible winters. We have a tractor doing.
We have a car coming up our driveway too.
Oh, it's Steve. I don't remember what we were talking about. Our friend coming up the LA and to talk about the greenhouse. So
yeah,
you'll be working tomorrow. Any plans for the land surrounding the chateau?
The general plan is to clean things up. Things got overgrown for the 40 or 50 years that the last owner was here. He really didn't do anything to the property, so there's a lot that needs to be cleaned
Yeah.
up. And
Clearing, that's the big
cleared.
thing.
Yeah, work away at it.
Yeah.
We need to have the trees in the LA
Yes.
addressed.
They need
'cause
to be pollarded, but
right,
we need to contact a specialist who can make sure it's done properly so they don't all die. And,
Right.
and we worry about that.
and there's 130 of them, so it's probably not going to be cheap.
If this chateau were just on like an acre or two, this would, we'd probably be done by now.
Yeah.
With all the interior work. But you add in an extra 40 acres, a walled garden, it just adds to the amount of upkeep. So it's just something we have to deal with.
Not complaining.
No. I mean, this is what
we signed up for this.
Yeah, we love this. I mean, there are days when, I can collapse and, have a good cry because it's like there's so much to do. But then it's like, all right, I look forward to spending time outside. I mean, This is the best time of year. Do you have a timeline to be finished or just working as you can? We don't have a specific timeline, no. I mean,
we'll be done when we're done.
what about vet costs? I think we've discussed this before, but if you haven't watched, it's considerably lower in France.
It's not like the U.S. where
Enzo, stop.
Vets can charge whatever they want, and they usually do charge a lot. But here, veterinary costs, just like everything else, are regulated. In particular because a lot of the animals they treat are not pets, but farm animals. So there's only so much they can charge for things. So it's
Mimi had cutting edge care, with the technology and everything. And I think all said and done, everything, appointments, and that's the beauty of it here. They take into account all of the appointments when you're given a quote for the medical care.
You're paying for the follow-up as well.
You're paying for all those appointments, so you know how much it's going to cost, and then they tell you ahead of time, with anything. They'll say, this is going to be €100, is that okay with you? So her treatment was about €1,200, and that included
That's everything.
Everything, all her appointments, medicine. I think we did have to buy extra medicine. Overall, they made it very easy, and we had an amazing doctor, really, really lovely guy. Yeah, there's an animal cancer center about an hour away from us. Someone wants to know how long it took us to find our chateau because they've been looking and can't seem to find one. Maybe it took us 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Because we were making trips back and forth. And this one wasn't listed. It was like an off-market listing that the realtor had in her back pocket. I think she was hesitant about showing it because the owner was incredibly difficult.
And he had been unreceptive to some of the people that she brought to him. Sounds like someone's here.
We've been interrupted again. Do we have another visitor? I mean, there are tons of chateaus for sale. It's just the best thing to do is find an area you want to live in first, and then
if you can narrow it down, then you'll do less looking, because we looked in several areas.
Do we miss the USA? We get this a lot.
I miss aspects of being in the U.S.
Like what?
Friends and family, being able to see them in person. Versus, FaceTime or whatever.
long airline trips. But I agree. To me, it's friends and family. I don't think there's much I really I miss, like aside from which I've mentioned before, is like some of the grocery stores that I like. But that's about it.
And the kids have some U.S. products that they miss, and they get care packages.
My mom will send care packages. But even there, become so accustomed to French products.
Yeah, the stuff that's
The
available
stuff
here.
is great here.
There's plenty of great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's not, to be honest, there's not a lot we miss. And, you know, fortunately, we will be seeing some friends and family this summer, so
Yeah.
that's nice. Taking up the drums, who are your favorite drummers? That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know that many people would be interested. Stuart Copeland was a big influence. From the Police. Neil Peart from Rush.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Meg White from the White Stripes. I think she's like seriously underrated drummer.
Yeah.
She's
yeah,
awesome.
She's good.
So those are just a few. We did see Dave Grohl play in a band.
Right.
And, you know him from usually Foo Fighters. We never saw Nirvana live, but we saw him play the drums, and he was pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's a really good drummer.
He's a really good drummer. Went down a YouTube rabbit hole, and I was watching Ginger Baker play the drums.
He is very good.
He was incredible.
One of the best.
Yeah. Lincoln's just trying to find the right question. The perfect question. Yeah.
Does Enzo know what a hero he is? He's setting an example for all three-legged dogs.
Right.
On how full a life you can have.
It's true. He has a very full life as a tripod dog.
Yes. Is our chateau heated on all floors?
That would
No.
be a big no.
We do have radiators, oil-burning furnace and radiators, but only on the main floor of the house.
Yeah.
And we have electric radiators in all of the other rooms that we're using.
The bedrooms, yeah.
Yeah, we hope to update the system. We just have to figure out how.
Yeah, when we redo the kitchen, we're going to be putting underfloor heating
Right.
in there. So that's going to be a huge plus.
It's kind of easy to do the whole main floor of the house has a basement or crawl space under it, so that's fairly straightforward to put in underfloor heating. The next one will be more difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, the bedroom.
Because the ceilings have to be preserved, so we'd have to do it from taking up the floors.
I mean, after all these years, we still haven't figured it out, but it's because it's a big undertaking. This year, we relied mostly on oil, and I kind of hate to say that, but
Yes, we did use more oil.
I think this season was particularly cold. It felt extremely cold
yeah.
and damp. I think the temperatures were cooler this winter. We do need to get a new wood boiler. I think we need to replace that because
it doesn't seem to work properly.
It doesn't work because we do have access to all this wood that we need to utilize. We're going to look into getting a new wood boiler, something that you just throw the wood in and you don't have to stay down there and tend it like you do.
And that could also tie in with getting a wood chipper.
Yeah.
Have a certain type of furnace that uses
wood chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are a lot of options, but we were pretty warm this.
Yeah, well, we made an effort to have the house warmer this winter.
We did. I think
and that was nice.
Yeah, in the past winters, you're always a little bit chilly, but this winter we were good. You're going to have that issue in any large old building. I mean, they are notoriously difficult to heat and extremely expensive.
But that's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be prepared for that if you want to live in one of these places, unless you have such deep pockets.
And we definitely plan to get away from using oil for our heat. We're looking at solar and wind power and
I mean, it's
hydro.
just by the time it gets chillier, it's too late. So it's
out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, it's not that we're not thinking about it. We just have so many millions of projects to do. So you can look forward to the greenhouse. Hopefully that's going to be finished soon. You're going to work on that tomorrow and another day this week. So you'll probably get a good portion of that done. A lot of you guys had a lot of good tips for the greenhouse from our last video. Like one person mentioned putting down some kind of mesh so that critters can't get in.
You mean from underground?
Yeah. Which is a
perfect sense.
really fantastic idea. And then you can look forward to kitchen shenanigans. I think that's going to be the next big
You got to bite the bullet.
We're going to bite the bullet. Look for that to be long and drawn out. Not on purpose.
All you ever wanted to know
but,
about a Chateau kitchen renovation.
but there'll be other things we'll be filming too. The swimming pool.
That's down the list.
That's really down the list, the swimming pool.
So
We've been interrupted like, I don't know how many times for important emails, people coming, texting.
Yeah, dogs running off.
We have a tractor guy doing his field over there. I mean, it's 99.9% of the time it's like super
Totally
quiet.
dead.
You can't hear anything. You can just hear the birds or yourself breathing. But today we picked a really good day to do this. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and if you have something to say, leave us a comment.